Hey y'all, it's Chris here from Frontsite. Have you ever wanted to buy a pistol, but you just didn't know specifically what features you were looking for on that gun? Or maybe you own a gun and you just don't know what kind of accessories you want to put on that firearm? Well, today I'm going to go over the top 3 things that I would put on my pistol to instantly up your game and make you a more efficient or more effective shooter. So today I'm going to focus specifically on pistols. And I have my two of my favorite pistols here, my Glock 19 and my Shadow Systems XR920 to use as examples. So first, let's start with my Glock and some things that I added to this just to make it a little bit more edgy. The first thing I added was obviously the weapon mounted light. It's a Streamlight TLR7 Alpha, very bright light. I went over this in a previous video. You can check that out. I have that link down below in the description. A couple other things I added. Obviously, I added the stippling or the skateboarder type tape onto the grip. I added the flared mag well, and I added a Timney trigger. I also added the neon green and orange sights, iron sights to the front and rear of the firearm, the orange sight being at the front. All right, so the top 3 for this one specifically, again, and this is all going to depend based on your competence and confidence as a shooter, what you might want to put on there. But some things that I like to put on there specifically, one that will help you with some of your fundamentals just a little bit. So first, what do I look for in accessories to go on a pistol, and what are the criteria for that? Well, one of the things I look for is, does it make you a better shooter, first of all? And really the only thing that's going to make you a better shooter is more training. So let's keep that in mind. But there are some things you can do to your firearm that could up your game just a little bit, right? The other thing that I look for is it going to help you in that oh shit situation when you really need it the most, when your family or your life is on the line? Okay, so what are the 3 top pieces or accessories I added to my firearm that make it a little bit better? Well, obviously the first things first, the iron sights. Since this is not an MOS ready, this is not a red dot ready pistol, you have to have upgraded iron sights. The regular old plastic ones they come out of the box ain't going to cut it. Now, why I like the different colors, it's got green here in the back and orange here in the front, is because orange is very easy to pick up with my eyes, and as you come up and get on target, if you're shooting iron sights and not red dot, you need to be front sight focused. So I did there again. I know, second time I use the same joke, sorry. But it's easier to pick up when you're target shooting or in the dark places. It's just easier to find. So that's the first thing I would suggest upgrading, is get a better sighting system. Iron sights, if that's all you have, get a better iron sights. If you have the option of putting a red dot on here, I would definitely do that as well. Number 2, the second thing I would add, obviously, weapon mounted light. You've got to have a good, sturdy weapon mounted light, and Streamlight does an excellent job at creating these lights, make them sturdy, make them functional, and easy to manipulate, right? So that's the second thing I would definitely add. And obviously, you want to have that just in case you are working in a dark place, or at night someone comes into your house, you need to be able to light up the room, right? The last thing is not the flared mag well. It's not necessarily the grip tape. The last thing I think is very, very important to upgrade, if you can, is the trigger. This trigger itself is an extraordinarily light press trigger. It's flat, which I also like, and also there's very little play in this trigger. Most of you know, if you've ever shot a Glock, the trigger is really spongy. This one doesn't have the same sponge to it, right? Doesn't have the same play. So I like that. It's got a good reset to it, and also it just helps me shoot a little bit faster. So I definitely like that. So if you could upgrade the 3 things I would say to upgrade: sights, trigger, and add a weapon mounted light, this style of pistol should be good to go. All right, so my second pistol is the Shadow Systems XR920, the combat model. You probably saw this in the previous video I did, which gun I think is better. I'm not going to get into that here, but I would say the Shadow Systems did pretty well. So when you're looking at buying a pistol, if you don't have a gun already and you're looking to buy a pistol, go ahead and buy one that has the ability to mount a red dot optic. Why? It's just better. It's just easier. It's faster. When you're talking about being front sight focused in a world that chaos is going on around you and you have to focus on this tiny little thing, we're talking about doing something against our physiological makeup, right? If you throw a baseball, a football, you throw a club at somebody, what are you looking at? You're not looking at the end of that baseball. You're not watching your fingers as you throw that ball. You're looking at the target. You're looking at what you're intending to throw that object to. The same concept goes with firearms. If you're using a red dot, your focus can be on the threat at all times, which means you can have updated information immediately as they do something. If they drop a weapon, or if they put their hands up, or if they decide that they want to engage you, you already can pick up that information. You can bring that weapon up, put the dot on, and you're good to go. All right? So the first thing I would suggest when you have a pistol, if you're able to add it or not, the number one thing I would add would be a red dot. It's a Trijicon RMR. There's plenty of red dots out there. Some of my favorites, Trijicon's one of them. You also have the Holosun is a really good one. Aimpoint Acro is a really good one. And you also have to decide what type of red dot you're looking to purchase. Do you want an open emitter, which is this, where the laser itself, that the red dot itself that gets put on the glass is open to the elements? Or do you want a closed emitter where it's all boxed in and housed in into one piece and it's sealed with a nitrogen seal? So there's ups and downs to both open and closed emitter. Let me know in the comments if you want to talk about red dots in the future. Another thing I would add, especially since you're running a red dot, I would absolutely add raised iron sights. If your optic does not allow your normal iron sights to be usable, then you need to get rid of them and you need to put raised iron sights on there, because one day this optic could fail. And yeah, there are ways you can manipulate or utilize this firearm without the dot itself, and you can actually get hits on target. It's not hard, but it's always good to have a really good set of iron sights on there just in case. So that's the number two thing that I would add to my pistol. The number three, again, can't say it enough, get you a light. Light, light, light. You have to be able to identify what you are looking at before you intend to shoot, right? You have to identify that. You do not want to have an issue where you utilize your firearm for a defensive purpose and you have a misidentification. That's a problem. So please, 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 it's hugely beneficial to put a weapon mounted light system on your pistol. So the last thing I'll say about firearms and accessories in general, specifically about red dots, is if you think you're going to put a red dot on your gun and be John Wick immediately, there's a problem. You have to train. This takes time to get used to for that presentation, because at the end of the day, you don't want to present that gun up in a life-threatening situation in that split-second moment and not be able to find that dot. You have to train with these things. Now, do they make you better? Well, I'd say they make you a faster shooter. They can make you more accurate as well. And it does give you that ability to look at your target while you're shooting instead of trying to focus on your front sight. Something else I will say about a red dot is it will humble you at first, because a red dot is really good at exposing your weaknesses and your flaws in your fundamentals. So if you have a tendency to jerk the trigger or anticipate that shot, or if you break at the wrist right at the last minute, or your grip is not where it needs to be, this will reveal it very, very quickly. So stay humble when you put one of these things on there and get some training. And if you're looking for some really good firearms training, whether it be pistol or rifle, get up with my buddy Jason at cypresstacticalsolutions.com. You can check them out on Facebook at Cypress Tactical Solutions. They have classes coming up all throughout the summer. Check them out, get some training, and go have some fun. All right, y'all, that's it for this video. Leave me a comment if you liked what you saw, if you learned something, or if you want to see something else. Leave it down in the comments, and I'll do a video on that as well. But I appreciate y'all subscribing. I appreciate you clicking that like button and following this channel. And I look forward to doing many more videos here in the future. Welcome to the revolution. Welcome to Frontsite.